Understanding stock options within your employment agreement. When reviewing an employment agreement, stock options represent a significant component of long-term compensation that requires a deep understanding of the underlying mechanics. The primary consideration is the grant type, typically distinguishing between incentive stock options and non-qualified stock options. Incentive stock options often provide more favorable tax treatment if specific holding periods are met, whereas non-qualified stock options are more flexible but subject to ordinary income tax upon exercise. Employees must evaluate the strike price, which is the set price at which they can purchase shares, usually tied to the fair market value at the time of the grant. Understanding these fundamental terms ensures that the recipient can accurately project the potential future value of their equity stake, with each country having its own tax treatment of stock options, and this analysis focusing on stock options granted to U.S. employees. The vesting schedule is perhaps the most critical temporal element, dictating when an employee actually earns the right to their options. Most agreements follow a standard 4-year vesting period with a 1-year cliff, meaning no options are earned until the first anniversary of employment. After the cliff, vesting typically occurs on a monthly or quarterly basis for the remainder of the term. It is essential to negotiate for acceleration clauses, which can trigger immediate vesting in the event of a company acquisition or an involuntary termination. Without these protections, an employee might lose a substantial portion of their unvested equity during a corporate restructuring or change in control. Beyond the vesting period, the exercise window defines the time frame an employee has to purchase their vested shares, particularly after leaving the company. Most standard agreements provide a 90-day window following termination of employment to exercise vested options before they expire and return to the company pool. For many, this short window creates a golden handcuffs effect or a significant financial burden, as the cost to exercise plus the associated tax hit can be substantial. Some progressive companies now offer extended exercise windows of several years, which provides employees with much-needed liquidity flexibility. Understanding this post-termination clause is vital for long-term financial planning and career mobility. The valuation and dilution aspects of stock options are often overlooked but significantly impact the eventual payout. An option grant is usually expressed as a specific number of shares, but its true value is determined by its percentage of the total fully diluted capitalization of the company. As the company raises more capital in subsequent funding rounds, new shares are issued, which can dilute the percentage ownership of existing option holders. Employees should inquire about the current valuation, the total shares outstanding, and any anti-dilution protections that might be in place. Monitoring the pre-money and post-money valuations during funding rounds helps in assessing whether the equity's value is growing faster than the rate of dilution. Taxation represents a complex layer of stock option management that can result in unexpected liabilities if not handled correctly. For incentive stock options, the spread between the strike price and the fair market value at exercise is a tax preference item that may trigger the alternative minimum tax. Conversely, non-qualified stock options trigger ordinary income tax on that spread immediately upon exercise, regardless of whether the shares are sold. Strategic timing of exercises, such as filing a U.S. Internal Revenue Code 83(b) election for restricted stock or exercising early when the fair market value is low, can significantly minimize the tax burden. Consulting with a tax professional before signing an agreement or exercising options is a necessary step to avoid phantom income issues. Finally, the liquidity events and exit strategy dictate how and when an employee can actually convert their paper wealth into cash. Stock options in private companies are generally illiquid until a triggering event occurs, such as an initial public offering or a direct acquisition by another firm. Some agreements may allow for secondary market sales, but these are often restricted by right of first refusal clauses that give the company the option to buy back the shares first. Employees should also be aware of lock-up periods, which typically prevent selling shares for 180 days following an initial public offering. Evaluating the company's path to liquidity is the final piece of the puzzle in determining if the stock options are a realistic path to wealth. We welcome you to contact our law firm to learn more about our employment law legal practice. Thank you.